What's up, everybody? It's your boy back with another reaction video. And I saw this. This came up as recommended a couple days ago. Well, almost 2 days ago. I think I've seen a thumbnail for this a while back. Well, it's only a month, a little bit over a month up. I'm guessing because it says a month, and that could be. It doesn't change to 2 months. You know YouTube works. But and then when I clicked on the video, I think I watched like 5 seconds of it, and I said, "Wait a minute, I'm going to do a reaction to this," because I was like, "How did this go over my radar?" I mean, maybe because I don't look at a lot of Dragon Ball Z stuff on YouTube, so I was like, maybe that's it. But and then it's funny because after I looked at like 5 seconds of it, when my channel, refreshed, almost every other video recommended was someone doing a reaction to this. I was like, how did I not see this? Like, how? And animation looks very, very good. I almost said very, very great. It looks so good. I can't even talk. But anyway, let's get into the Legend of Dragon Ball Tale. I want to say Dragon Ball Z so bad. Dragon Ball Z Tale. Dragon Ball Tale. So check this out. I'm gonna put the link in the description like I always do, so you can go check out the original video, original channel yourself. But without further ado, here we go. I hope this thing ain't messing up because it was like freezing. Got to update your OBS and it just started causing shit to freeze. His inspiration will forever remain immeasurable. Damn. So I went to the gym and got jacked because of Dragon Balls. Oh, is that yeah, about this Planet Vegeta? Okay, that's Raditz and Nappa, I'm assuming.
My son, stay strong.
Oh, you don't have
Your crown is
the
here,
goatee.
and your kingdom awaits your return.
So I guess this is if Planet Vegeta didn't explode. Wait a minute, I didn't see this. Like this part, like it started, well I guess somebody must have edited it, and it wasn't the original video. It like started here. Well, not here, but like when they went, when him and Chi-Chi went in the ring. Ooh.
Have we ever met?
Ooh, damn. Yeah, it was like this.
Can you just tell me what I forgot so I can remember?
Unbelievable! And did you forget the promise you made me?
Chi-Chi always had them hands.
You promised to marry me, Goku!
Goku like, what?
Now his life's over.
Is that all you can say for yourself?
Okay, did he miss on purpose? Is that a blast? What's that? Damn, she ate that shit. Is that Broly? That's Broly. It's like the green and then that arm gauntlets. Damn. Okay, this is the Goku who's not a Super Saiyan. Okay, Vegeta just shows up out of nowhere. Like, she's like, I expected that. It's gonna go over 9,000. It's gonna go over the 9,000. It's over 9 fucking thousand. I was gonna break. I never understood that. Like, why those things like just explode? I mean, I know it's for like effect, but it's just weird to me.
It's not every day that a king leaves his throne. But for you, I make a royal
Damn, Vegeta looks cool as hell right here with the little the bun at the top. Okay, he looks very different compared to when he had that cloak on. I always forget he's basically the Hulk in Dragon Ball Z. Just, I forgot they can do that with the Ultra Saiyan form.
I've trained for this one moment. For the pride of the Saiyans. For my family.
It land
And
with
yes, even you, Kakarot. Saiyan legend, hear me! Today.
Okay, does he know Kakarot already?
Bones to dust. Ashes to the
And he's a Super Saiyan. I'm assuming Kakarot's a Super Saiyan because he didn't turn into a Super Saiyan immediately when he was fighting Broly. Damn, this animation is fire. Damn. Oh, damn. He destroyed you. Your ribs are gone. Like, how are you still fighting? You have no ribs. It's like his ribs just got obliterated. Oh, damn. He's a nuts as shit. Why did he grab him like, like a little brother grab, older brother grabbing a little brother? He keeps just knocking him out of Super Saiyan. Each punch, okay. Oh, now you the pistol off. Chi-Chi, sit your ass down. Oh yeah, that arm is done. Your martial art days are over. At least, well, maybe you get a one-armed martial artist. Doom, 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 doom. Oh wait, that's Naruto. Uh-oh. Okay, this is him turning Super Saiyan for the first time? Or is he turning into evil Ryu? Like, what the fuck is this? Okay, he grew his tail back. That Ghost Riders? Super Saiyan? Okay, yeah, this is the music. Savior. Of heaven, okay. That you were crying and you made me angry as a baby, which shaped my entire life for some reason. I'm glad they retconned that. That was always stupid. Ooh. Wait, how do you know the Kamehameha? And I just noticed, I noticed it before, but I didn't say anything. Is Vegeta got the fusion earrings on? They look like it. How about this is the greatest world martial art tournament I've ever been to.
I remember. It's Chi-Chi, right?
Kakarot.
Stop calling me that.
That name is your birthright.
But it's not my
You,
name.
just like I, are the legacy of a proud race of golden warriors. We are the keepers of the primal light. Your light is out of control and must be refined to be useful. Your days under the sun are numbered, Kakarot. So marry that woman while you still have the chance.
Is that permanent now? Is it like burns?
We
Like, what is
have to prepare.
For what?
War.
okay? Man, I try to keep my emotions in check because I don't want to start yelling and screaming like a child. God damn, that was awesome. Shit. I don't care about the demonetized thing. I can't get monetized anyway. But, boy, that was. See, I like stuff like this where somebody takes an existing property and changes it, you know, a little bit. Like, I don't. Damn, it's still 2 minutes left. I thought that was it. This motherfucker's still alive. What, they shot him to the moon? How is he surviving in space? He gonna come back with a cybernetic arm from he gonna run into fuck, what's his name? The dude from the Red Ribbon Army that made the androids. I keep wanting to say Dr. Robot. That name keeps popping up in my head.
Hi, I'm Nasser Pasha, and I'm the creator of Legend: A Dragon Ball Tale. There's a lot I'd like to say, but I'll save most of it for another time. First, I'd like to say thank you to each of you for taking the time to watch this film. Your attention.
Thank you for making it. That is.
As well, I'd like
I bet
to
that
give
took a long
huge and
time to
sincere
make.
Thank you to my entire team who helped me bring this film to life. Their work
Thank you
is
to your team.
extremely skillful. I've gone ahead and dropped links to their socials in the YouTube description of this video, so please do take the time and check out all their work and share it with your friends. And lastly, it goes without saying, but animation takes a lot of time and energy and focus and stamina and budget.
Especially because that look hand
We had
drawn.
all that
So
stuff except the budget. My entire team did this. out
that's
of sheer
usually what
enthusiasm
people.
for Dragon Ball
That's
Z
usually
and
the
project
problem. The
itself.
budget.
If this film was something that you really loved and you're excited to see more of my other work and animations, please consider contributing to my Patreon. Your patronage will be
Support.
deeply appreciated. And who knows, maybe the next one won't take 4 years. Anyway.
He's like, maybe.
Easy. Support. My planet needs me.
See you. What comes next? Yeah, that was fucking amazing. Make sure I stop the right thing from recording. But yeah, I always like stuff like this where someone takes an existing property and does something different with it. You know, it's not we don't have to do the same thing. Like when you see like remakes and reboots, I almost feel like when I see it, like when you do this, it will never measure up with people who watch the original. That it will never, the remake will never be the same as even if they say, oh, you know what, the remake was actually good, they will never admit, even if it was like better, they might deep in their mind they might actually think it's better, but they will never admit it because the original exists. You know, they like, it's like RoboCop. I always go back to that. Like that movie, the remake wasn't terrible. It wasn't great either, but it wasn't terrible. But I think that movie could have did a lot better if they didn't call it RoboCop, or people didn't think it was like a RoboCop reboot or remake or whatever. And especially when you measure up to the original, which in its time was like almost like an instant classic. It wasn't like one of those things where it was bad or had bad reviews And then later on, as time went by, it got a reevaluation, or people picked it back up, or whatever. Like, no, that was considered great when it came out. And anytime you try to remake stuff like that, and you try to stay, really close to the source material. Like, I feel like you're just going to, especially when something already exists in that medium. It's one thing when you change something from like comic books to movies, but when you do something that was a movie already, and make another movie, and it's a decades later, it's a reboot for another generation. It's like, I feel like because you're not gonna get, if you're banking on the original fans, the fans of the original coming in, like, you're like, this is guaranteed money. Cause that's the reason why they make those things. They make remakes and reboots because they're banking on my hair growing. Cause now I'm starting to get that in my hair when I wear those damn headphones. Cause you banking on getting for nostalgia kick in for those people. You get, we got guaranteed money at least with them, and hopefully we can bring in some, newer people, obviously, so we can make even more money. But I just feel like those people are not. You're never gonna be as good as the original. Like, to a lot of people, to whatever it is, you're never going to have that same feeling. People growing up, especially if someone, like I said, nostalgia thing, when they watched it as kids or something like that, or when they were teenagers or something. You're never gonna have that making a remake. Now, you might have that with the newer generation. People might look at that and never seen, especially if they never seen the original RoboCop. They don't have a point of reference that this is new to them. It's like when I was a kid, even though it came out several years before I was born, The Thing. Like, I saw that as a kid, and then I found out years later, like in my 20s, that it was a remake. Like, it's like I didn't know that, and I saw the original, but that's the thing. That's also the thing I'm referring to, like with this, where they changed. I mean, it's still Dragon Ball Z, but the storyline's completely different. Like, Planet Vegeta never blew up. Vegeta's father is still the king. Nappa and Raditz are still alive, and are guards for King Vegeta. So Goku never fought Nappa. He did fight Nappa. He never fought Raditz. He didn't fight Vegeta. He didn't fight Nappa. He didn't have that. And then you see his power level. Like, it was like a little bit over 300 and going down. Like, I think Goku's power level when Raditz came was like, I don't know, like, was it like 300 when Raditz came? I think him and Piccolo were like around. I think Piccolo was like slightly under him. But I can't remember off the top of my head. I used to know all the damn power levels. I haven't read them in years, but yeah, his power level was like around there in the hundreds. So he's like, he hadn't had that challenge, and it's like, oh, we taking the Dragon Ball Z story and doing something different with it, and going in different. What if this happened? It's like a what if. Like, what if this happened? What if that happened? Like another universe, like they have in DC or Marvel. Like, oh, what if Superman landed in Soviet Russia? Like, just like, what if Superman landed in Brooklyn? I don't know. it's like, and the thing is like that. If you've seen the original thing, it's basically a completely different movie than the thing. And what was it? It came out in '82. Like that movie was like, it was still aliens, but it was completely different. But that's what, like I said, they saw that, and he said, you know what? Let's do something different. And he completely said, like, I wouldn't even know. I don't even think people would realize that's a remake, unless the director said, or the writer was like, oh yeah, I got the inspiration from that movie, and this is basically a remake of that. But you completely change everything, which I'm, like I said, I'm perfectly fine with doing something different where is not the exact same thing that happened before. It's like Man of Steel. Like, I actually like Man of Steel. I know a lot of people didn't. But I say I like that they tried to go in a different direction and just trying to do the same thing that, you know, basically trying to be like Christopher Reeve Superman. You know, let's do this again. You know, they like, first off, they tried that with Superman Returns. Well, kind of, it's like they tried to do that with, it's like everything in that was different. The only thing that was the same was Brandon Routh, who they cast because he looked like Christopher Reeve. So there's like, oh, you can play that same character, but the whole atmosphere and tone of that movie was different than the movie that's supposed to be a sequel to. You know, like this is supposed to be a sequel to Superman 2, basically. Like they wrote off Superman 3 and Superman 4. And it's supposed to be a direct sequel to Superman 2. But like, and you try to, and it's like the only thing that's supposed to be similar is the actor supposed to act like Christopher Reeve Superman, but then the whole world is completely different. Even Kevin Spacey's like, well, he kind of acted like him a little, but he like Kevin Spacey's Lex Luthor, but then if I, going back looking at Gene Hackman, it still was very different because those movies, the tone was so different, it is. And that's what I said, like Man of Steel, they tried to do something different. And it wasn't like necessarily like, oh, we modernizing the characters. It's like, hey, we've already seen that. And I know people's like, well, Superman should be this way, Spider-Man should be this way, Batman should be this way. There's a key element to the characters that if you adapting them in certain media, that they should try to adhere to. I get that. To me, the only thing they need to adhere to is that, hey, he's Superman, he saves people. And, like, even if he's like a little bit of a jerk, like in the New 52, people didn't like that Superman because he was kind of an asshole. Like, I mean, he wasn't an asshole, like, but asshole. I mean, he had like kind of like a, from what I read of it, I didn't read all of it, but I don't read comics anywhere near like I used to. But he had like an arrogance to him, and like I didn't really mind. I didn't think it was that bad. It's more like the story writing. Some of those stories weren't great, but I don't, like I said, I don't need every Superman to be Christopher Reeve or All-Star Superman. It's like I don't mind the different iterations. I actually like those. Like I like to see different takes on the character. I will say, Superman being evil is getting old. It's just like, let's just make Superman evil, and they do the same thing in Marvel, like with the Hulk. Like, let's just make the Hulk evil this time. Which is weird because the Hulk does rampages all the time and somehow never kills anybody. He just does a shitload of property damage. But the only time somebody dies is like he's under some type of control or something. I'm like, how are these people not dead? How did he not kill anybody? Or maybe he did kill somebody, but they don't ever say like he killed anybody. You just assume that they don't show it. Like that's one thing I liked about Man of Steel. Like they had the balls, like people died, and we are going to show people dying. Like there's none of this bullshit where, what was it, Age of Ultron when the Hulk got possessed by mind control by Scarlet Witch, and I remember one part he ripped open, I think it was a police car or a police Humvee or something like that. And then they did the thing where people like screaming. He ripped it open, and you see his hand like go towards the screen, like the POV of the people, like he was killing them. So, but like they didn't show him doing it, because people would turn against it, like they actually see the Hulk killing somebody. But I'm like, he was mind controlled. Like we see Bucky kill people, like he shot people, and like, but then he's like, well, he was under mind control. He was in, he was, and then they wiped his memories and shit. Like and we had sympathy for him when Iron Man was like, "I'm gonna kill this motherfucker because he killed my parents," and Captain America trying to stop him. We had sympathy for the Winter Soldier. Like he's mind controlled. I mean, and also I can see Tony being pissed off. Like I will say, I think he needed to calm down a bit because the guy was mind controlled. All right, I understand that, especially because he was more upset that he killed his mom than anything else. Especially, I could see if someone just told him that, like, oh, Winter Soldier killed your parents, or it would actually seeing a video of him beating your father's face in and then breaking your mother's neck. I think he broke her neck. It sounded like a snack snap, or maybe he choked her to death. I recall hearing like a neck snap. But like when you see that, I'd be like someone showing Batman a video of his parents getting killed. I mean, he actually saw it. Like Tony wasn't there when that happened, so it's like him knowing his parents died, and him thinking, oh, they died in a car crash, and then seeing a video of them being killed, and especially like to me, like his father got it where he picked him up and just started beating his face in with his metal arm. He like cracked his skull open. And I guess that could be like, oh, he smashed his head against the steering wheel. And then, I guess he would have had to break her neck because they'd be like, this woman asphyxiated. Like he had, I think it was a neck. It's been a while since I've seen Age of Ultron. But it's just, I get back to on topic. I like when they take stuff and change it. Like it doesn't necessarily have to be the exact. Like you're gonna alienate yourself from a group of fans because they want everything to be the exact same as it was in something else. I'm like, I always say when people get upset, when I hear people get upset about something, oh, why did they change this? Like, why isn't Barry Allen blonde in any of the live action adaptations with blonde hair? I think he had blue eyes too. So I'm like, but he's always been like, I didn't even realize that. Even though I read comics when I was young, my brother's comic because he collected them. But I like when I was a kid, I watched the Flash TV show with John Wesley Shipp when it come out like '91 or something. And I remember seeing advertising for that, and I didn't even think about it. Like he had brown hair, brown eyes. Like I didn't think about that. And then he's always, and then you never see him. Well, probably one thing because, like when I was a kid, watching like cartoon, like when they had Justice League and stuff like that, in my early teens, they had Wally West. He had, and I knew he had red hair when I saw him. So, and I didn't even. I remember as a kid. Well, when I was really young, I didn't even think about multiple Flashes. I just thought that was the same Flash. Oh, that was, and then until I watched the show and I was a teenager. I was like, wait a minute. Did they? Because they started showing that old show again. I think on was it HBO or something back in the day. It was on cable, one of them channels, and I was like, oh shit, it's the whole Flash TV show, and it was at Barry Allen. I was like, and then it started like it's almost like you notice something as a kid, but it goes over your head, but but it's in there, but you don't recollect, and then as a teenager, I was like, wait a minute, that thing was Barry Allen. I'm thinking in my head, I'm just thinking Wally West. But I was, like I said, I was a little bit older, and I was watching the cartoons on. Also, when I was a kid, I don't even remember them. Now I'm forgetting shit because like, was that Wally West or Barry Allen in the animated in Superman animated series when he raced the Flash? I think that was Wally West. Cause wasn't Barry Allen dead in the comics at the time? And now that the timeline is all like, I'm like, when that comic book come out? Because I don't know when the comic came out because I didn't read it. Like I said, I was a kid and I read my brother's comic. He bought his own comic, so it was like I just read them, and it could have been years after they came out. So and then maybe the person was alive then. Because you know how death don't mean nothing in comic books. So they're like, this person's popular enough, they're gonna come back eventually. But yeah, I like stuff like that. I like when they change stuff. It doesn't have to necessarily be the exact same thing. If I cared about, like I said, like RoboCop. If I want RoboCop, I can watch the original RoboCop. If I want this character to look this particular way, that's in a book, I'll read the fucking book. I don't need this movie to be shot for shot or panel for panel, page for page like they had now. What is like a source material? Like I don't need that. Like I actually don't want that, especially if I haven't read it, like The Witcher. I didn't even know those books existed, and I vaguely remember hearing about the games. Like The Witcher 3 is the first Witcher game I ever played because I saw that trailer that came out. He's fighting that like vampire lady or whatever she's supposed to be, and that was I was like, this looks awesome, and I bought the game. Like I think about 6-7 months after it came out. So that was my and I don't have any desire to go back and play 1 or 2. Now maybe if they remaster them, because I've heard people who have played that. Because a friend of mine, I told him I got Witcher 3. He was like, "Oh yeah, I play," because he said he read the books and stuff like that before. I ain't even because I never talked to him about it because I had no interest in it, so he never talked to me about it. And he played the games. And he said those first couple games kind of rough to play, but like I said, I don't need stuff to be the exact same. I like I said, Man of Steel. I like that they changed, and I don't like the way his dad died, but I don't necessarily like everything in every movie. There's little gripes here and there that I can pick out of any movie that I didn't like, but it didn't necessarily ruin the movie for me. Like people, he snapped somebody next Superman would never do that and all shit like that, or all those people died and it's his fault. I'm like, I mean, the world engine kind of did all that. I mean, he did some damage when he was fighting Zod, but if you look at that, I think the only time Superman where he hit a building was with Zod when he was flying down, Zod was running up, and they collided into one another, and the shockwave knocked piece of the side of that building down. Also, when Zod threw that truck at him, that gas truck, he could have tried to stop it. He just jumped between the truck and the trailer or the gas tank, and it flew into or slid into a parking garage and it blew. I was like, they could have had him when he tries to stop it and his eye jumps into it and it explodes anyway. At least show him try to stop it. Because he was just like, oh, it went through it and just blew up. But then I guess that was kind of showing his inexperience. He's concentrating more on fighting Zod because he's kind of fighting for his life for the first time ever in his life. Then, concentrating on saving people. That's one thing about Superman that you see him in anything. Superman cares more about the buildings in Metropolis than he cares about himself. He will literally put himself in harm's way to save building because with his building, I'm sure he doesn't care about the building, but he cares about the potential people in those buildings. So it's he jumps in harm's way. Like I said, in the Superman 2, when they threw that bus at him, he tried to stop the bus. He didn't, but he did slow it down, I will say, but the bus still collided with a side of a building or something like that. But he did slow it down and it didn't destroy the bus, or the bus didn't blow. So, I will say, they probably could have showed him, and it probably put a lot of people more at ease with Henry Cavill's Superman if they would have showed him trying to save more people. But like I said, I still they showed people the actual consequences these fights that these people have. That's one of my gripes with the Avengers, the first Avengers movie. Love that movie, great movie. One of my gripes with is that they didn't show anyone dying, or they just showed these aliens literally falling out of a wormhole in the sky and shooting at anything that moves, even stuff that wasn't, but they're just shooting at buildings. And then these giant snails coming out, hitting people and hitting buildings and knocking them over and shit. And all I did, and then because I remember after that, people like, did anybody die? Like nobody died. I was like, what? And then gradually, it's like, oh well, like 70 people died, and a couple hundred people died, and like 800 people died, and then like okay, like a few thousand people died. Like, because like these aliens were literally coming out and just started shooting at people. They're shooting at anything. Cars just blowing up and shit. And then they said the giant snails coming out, just flying, and just they whole thing is just running into like grazing buildings and cutting them in half with their armor on the side. I was like, did nobody die in the middle of the fucking day in New York City? Like what is a Sunday? Like, is that your excuse? Like, what? Like, this makes no sense. Like, no one died. You know, and I get that they was like, oh, see, they save people, and you don't get the feeling that they failed. But in this scenario, when you see this happening, and you know people are dying, there has to be people dying. There's no way people are surviving this what is happening right now. Like this one thing. I mean, even though, because I know in like Man of Steel, they show pretty much all the death with the world engine. When you could literally see those people going up in the air and they just get slammed right down the ground. Like that was kind of the death. They didn't show like Zod knocking Superman into like a human person and they like body explodes or some shit. Like they didn't show that, or like they didn't even show anyone, like any people standing looking outside that parking garage before it blew up when he threw that gas tanker at her. So they didn't show that. Like they didn't show people dying in that at that point, because now Superman is on the scene, and like we can't see people dying while superheroes trying to save people. But at least they show, hey, they had a consequence, like their world engine. Like that'd have been weird. This world engine's in the middle of the city, and is literally changing the gravity and picking shit up and slamming it, and they be like, oh yeah, nobody died. No, like, oh yeah, like 100 people died. Like what? Like that would be like, that makes no sense. You know, so like that's what I appreciate it when they show, hey, there are consequences for these heroes, you know, flying around. This ain't Dragon Ball Z when he convinced the villain to go to a desert area where there's no people and fight, even though they were just literally just shooting at anything that moved. Like when the android showed up during the Cell saga. Or I guess that was kind of like the android saga at that point, because Cell, they didn't even know Cell was there, because they had to fight Android 17 and 18. But when they fought Android 19 and 20, they just came out and started shooting at people. Like, and then they agreed to go somewhere unpopulated. Like we're not going nowhere. And then just like, and just some person over there just shoot. It was like, we came here to fuck shit up. Like, why would we leave and go somewhere else? Could you ask nicely? You know, that was I could appreciate that. I mean, I don't necessarily need that. I ain't some psycho. Like, I want to see a bunch of people die and get killed. I want like 39-11. But if somebody attacking a city, you fighting in a city, and buildings get knocked over, you getting thrown through shit, like, and no one is getting killed. It's like in Justice League when Superman fought Shazam, and they was literally knocking each other into buildings, and the building had lights on inside of them. I remember I watched that And I was like, is it people dying? I was like, there are lights on in those buildings, and the whole building is collapsing, like multiple buildings. I'm like, I'm like, maybe there's nobody. They just left the lights on to make it look like it's living there, even though because they just built this place. And I'm like, but I was like, I guess nobody died because they didn't say anything. But it's, but anyway, I'm not talking way too long. That video was only like 11 minutes long. Went on this fucking rant. Oh, but anyway, I hope y'all enjoyed my reaction. And if you did, make sure you hit that thumbs up button down below. Make sure to subscribe, and if you're hit that bell, you will be notified when I upload new videos. Comment down below. Share this video. I'll see y'all next time. Peace.